I've always been the type of artist who enjoys doing studies way more than personal work, but I never looked into it that much. I always assumed because studies are just easier and they're low risk compared to the failure from personal work, and it felt amazing seeing the improvement after all the studies. It only took me learning how to code to figure out what caused it exactly. The feedback loop. I've been learning Unreal Engine to make my game project, and it made it so brutally obvious how little gratification and fun I've been having from drawing this whole time. With the scripting in Unreal, I code my little code, I press a button, and I can see if it works or not. Same with cooking. I cook the food, go through preparing the ingredients and the whole process. I wait for it to cook, and then I eat the food. And I quickly reap the rewards from what I did. The instant gratification of seeing my code work and playtesting even the smallest thing feels like a huge win of the day. With drawing, on the other hand, I don't think I've ever experienced that, at least not with illustration. Thinking about it, the only example of type of drawing that has instant gratification factor to it is animation. Doing animation, even if you draw sloppy frames in 5 minutes, you could still press the button and play it, and it comes to life. What if I'm doing longer painting and I want it to be finished and great? Then by the time I'm done with it, I'm so sick of it, I don't even want to look at it anymore. I just feel relief, and I'm burned out every time I spend over, I don't know, 30 hours on a painting. So I never really had that feedback loop or any type of instant gratification with personal work compared to doing a study, because it's usually obvious when you do a study if you did it well or not, because you can compare it to the reference or see if you have improved over time. Like, say I've done 50 hand drawings and I do a 51st hand drawing and compare it to the first one, and of course it's gonna look better, and that's satisfying. But what do you do with personal work? Let's look into common feedback loops that people often have with drawing. Well, the most common feedback loop I see with art is built on outside rewards. And that's the one it's the easiest to fall into when you don't feel the same gratification from the inside. It's feedback from other people, like positive comments or even negative comments. That's still a response, better than no feedback at all. That's not the healthiest relationship to have with it, then, because then you become dependent on it to make art. But I've seen so many people fall into that, even my friends. And the second outside feedback reward is if you make your art into a product and then sell it, and the feedback then is the customers buying it. That's the greatest reward and speaks louder than anything else in that case. So, how do you make art more fun? Well, let's look into the opposite first. How do you make making art most miserable you can ever have? Maybe take unbearably long time to finish one painting. There could be multiple factors causing that. First of all, a skill issue. And that's okay to be bad and take a long time figuring out the process or whatnot, or not doing yourself justice and not getting enough reference. But the second one, that's even worse. than being bad is having unrealistic expectations. They're way too high for your level, and comparing yourself to people who has been working for 20 years in the industry. That's how you can start hating your own art if you're always comparing yourself to others. And the third way, and probably the best for one painting to take ages to finish, is being indecisive. Never stick to one idea, always keep repainting and changing your mind last minute. That'll sure make you stick with it for ages and probably never finish it. That method really works. I tested it. Silliness aside, the people who are best in drawing and probably the ones who draw the most are also the ones who are fast. Because they have to be. Like storyboard artists or animators or comic book artists. They don't have the privilege of taking too long on just one drawing. One drawing doesn't really matter in the scope of things and projects. I remember reading this quote from Araki, the creator of JoJo manga series, that every time he would draw a panel, he would just draw it once, traditionally on paper, and then never really correct it. Just move on to the next one. And the more I think about it, the more it seems like a great idea. I don't think he even erased it that much, even though he did them in pencil. I'll have to find that quote. Same with Kim Jong-gi. The medium he chose for his drawings, being pen and ink or ink brush pen, you could say that's the opposite of spending 100 hours rendering a painting. But he was also a master at his craft and draftsmanship, and he learned to mostly depend on his memory and visual library to carry the work and do one drawing after each other without spending bajillions of hours on them because he didn't have to and he was having fun. But obviously, it's also a skill issue, and I've been realizing that the better you are, the more fun you have. But the opposite doesn't have to be true, but it has been for me. And I don't like being bad at something that I'm passionate about. I'm going to grind as hard as I can to improve so I can enjoy more. Or at least that's what I thought until here we are, 5 years in, and quit the drawing. Or at least went on hiatus, learning game dev. I don't even think about drawing on a daily basis anymore. I'm just so involved and happy about learning something new. So, what did we learn from all of this? How can I make art feel more satisfying and fun short term? Well, maybe I'll spend less time on it, as simple as it sounds. Just limit myself. It's always been my pipe dream to be able to start and finish the painting the same day, but now I'm realizing that maybe the dream wasn't so far after all, and it's not the skill that I've been lacking, but it's that my expectations were way too high for it to ever happen. But I think I can try that now and see what happens. Maybe switch my process too to make it faster, or basically just care less about the result. Honestly, I don't know if that would even work at the end, So I'll let you know in the next videos, since I'm not drawing right now. But now I'm curious. Let me know in the comments what kind of short-term rewards are you getting from doing art, and specifically drawing. Maybe we can learn from each other. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.